When does fall really start? Well, I suppose it's subjective, but regardless of random calendar dates, I've got 5 adorable fall-inspired builds for you today. Now, because these builds are perfect for some fall inspiration regardless of your current building skills, and paired up with the tips I've prepared, you'll be a professional autumn Minecraft builder by the end of this video. Now with that out of the way, it's time to get right into it. Now, number 1 is going to be a throwback to my original build tips video, and it is going to be remember your theme. Now, because of that, we get all of these pretty oranges, these detailed roots that are dried up, and a sprinkle of grass every now and then because we don't want everything to look completely dry. We want to show that it's not quite winter yet. There's still some life in the grass, and that gives it a little bit more of that color pop. Now, not only that gives it a color pop, because I added these coral fans right here. We have a horn coral fan and our fire coral fan sprinkled across the base of this autumn tree, and it gave it just that little extra bit of pop. Now, including the shroom lights in all that detailing and the hanging roots sprinkled underneath the leaves, everything here just gives off that magical autumn feeling. Overall, this build, including the dry roots underneath every single leaf, and the floating candles giving it more of a majestic tone, I like every single detail here. Up next, I made a little pathway, and there isn't much that has changed between this pathway and the pathway over there. The one big difference here is pumpkins. Now, it might be a really simple thing that I wouldn't have to make a whole second build about, but I mean, think about it. If we take away these pumpkins and we just walk around through it, this feels, I mean, there's an orange chair, sure. Besides the chair, it could feel like any generic pathway. It doesn't have that fall magic to it, and pumpkins give that magic tenfold whenever you add them to your base. If you add them to a pathway, if you add them anywhere, they help a lot. So I strongly recommend adding pumpkins to anywhere that you're planning on making some fall decor or anything of the sort. Overall, I think I did pretty well here. There are more warm colors than cold colors. It gives off a very calming feeling. A very good build here. Up next, we're gonna have a little pumpkin patch that I made, and yes, some of them are glowing, but that's just because I thought that it gave off a wonderful lighting aesthetic, a little more of a moodiness to it, especially when it's dark out. With this build, I added some overgrowth to it. There's some grass, tall ferns, tall grass sprinkled about, and with the leaves making a barrier over the fence, it gives it that little extra bit of detail. Now, you could go without the leaves sprinkled about, but I think that it makes it a little more rounded, a little more matured. It gives it that sense of, hey, it's overgrown and no one has really tended to it. You could totally just make this out of complete regular pumpkins and it'd still look good. Except the scarecrow. This scarecrow, I pride myself on this scarecrow because I don't think I've ever built one before this, and I think it looks pretty good. The magic to the carpets is just string. I put 3 string across on each side and then just put the side carpets on top of the levers, and it held up, and I got a little hay bale on top. Oh, look at the guy. And just overall, this build, I really appreciate. It really helped up my skills with small details like scarecrows, and it was a learning experience for me, and I hope it really inspires you as well with fall designs. Now, let's go to another pathway, but this time we're going to focus more on the arch above it, because we have all of our detailing, well, most of our detailing up here, where I put a few signs up, a few lanterns, and even a few mushrooms around. We have our archway, the main archway. Now, this is comprised of multiple blocks. We've got our logs, our signs, spruce slabs and stairs. We have a very nice archway. It's very asymmetrical. I did that because, I mean, it's made out of wood, and conventional archways that are naturally built don't really come symmetrical. I wanted to mimic that asymmetry here. The pathway is a little different from what I have done in the previous videos because first off, it's monochrome. It is gray, it's got dark grays, light grays, with a touch of dirt every now and then, some grass at the ends of it. This is more of a pathway that I've done more in the past, and these are my modern pathways. Big difference here is I've just been able to do these for longer, but lately I've been starting to switch over to those just because they add some more warmth and color to builds. If you add too much warmth or too much of one color to a build, it starts to look very bland. There's no eye candy, nothing for your eyes to look at and go, wow. But while you're keeping that there, you're looking at the main archway and all the details here, including the hanging roots, the buttons, everything around it. Pretty good build. Now, lastly, we've got our overgrown hut. I wanted to make this look a little magical, a little more man-made, because it is a house. What I did was I grabbed a few more man-made blocks. All those subtle things are gonna talk to the brain and say, hey, this is more man-made. So that equals more symmetry. But it doesn't have to be completely symmetrical. I added some overgrowth on the top of the roof over here, all the way around. I wanted to keep the front a little more open than the rest, so I kind of brushed the leaves to the sides. The rest of the overgrowth, though, is on the ground. Most of it is tall and it's kind of taking over the sides and the pathway, but the main pathway still has a majority of itself showing. And on the inside, I haven't put much in here because it is not an interior video, but if you want to watch an interior video, go check out that video. I have a whole video on my channel about interiors, and if you actually want, you can vote on the next interior that I'm going to make. Enough of that though, let's just close that up. The rest of the build is just factored up into logs, strip logs, stone, and nether. It's comprised of a majority of man-made items. Everything except the leaves and the foliage is in the house. And what I mean by that is, say, if you look at this archway, it's made of hanging roots, logs, and mushrooms. Now, back to this house though, you can see there are planks, stone brick fences, nether brick fences. If you want to build something for fall a little more ominous, then this is probably the way you want to go. Now, if you want a tutorial on how to build a spooky kind of ominous build like this, let me know in the comments and I will make one. But that is all for today's video. I hope you guys like these 5 little builds and the tips that followed. If you guys want more of these kind of tips and everything else that comes with them, let me know in the comments. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.